Our next guest is Dr. Ray Petersen. Professor Petersen earned his doctorate from the University of New York. He's taught political science at SUNY Jefferson for 35 years before his retirement in 2019. Many college students have had the privilege of learning from him and witnessing firsthand his patient and kind methods of teaching. He's very active in the community and continues to give back. We are honored to have him here with us today.
It's so great to be the diversity in this speaking panel. Doesn't often happen for me. And it's great to be here in Lowville. I came across in the State Museum in Albany a poster years ago when I took students to Albany for my state and local class. It was a poster of a speaking event in Lowville featuring Susan B. Anthony speaking on behalf of women's suffrage in the 1880s. So there's a really profound history in this area of speaking up for rights. Let's see. I offered to come help if there was some way I could come help a couple of months ago when I ran into Chris. And then I got the word that it was happening when I was in Quebec a few days ago and composed what I could compose on the drive down today. So I want to do this for my dad. My dad was a World War II vet. You get choked up thinking about it. Tomorrow's Father's Day too, so it's timely. He fought in Europe in World War II, and he had this awful thing happen to him. He was in an artillery unit, crossed Normandy about a week after the D-Day invasion. But he said it was horrible. And what I was able to hear from him came when Army buddies would come over to the farm, and I would overhear them. He really wouldn't talk to us about it, my brothers and sisters and I. But one thing happened. One of their shells went astray and killed this French girl riding a bicycle. And it just stuck with him. So my dad had PTSD before it was called PTSD. And it gets passed down. So, if we feel like we can be overwhelmed sometimes and maybe not able to make change, that's wrong. Because we can learn. The whole point of having education is that we are evolving. Among my choices for a hat, I chose this Soil Institute hat. I got it at this event down in Pennsylvania on sustainable agriculture. And I thought about it when I ran into Chris. It was actually several years ago. She was speaking at this event for science in Watertown during the first Trump term. And so my big thing is climate change. It's, the 7 generations thing is critically important. We need to be aware of that. And so much of what's happening today is actually a distraction from these bigger long-term issues that we need to keep in mind. My dad died in the first week of 2001. And shortly before he died, he told me, I fought fascism, but I see it coming here. And I was, thinking about the George W. Bush administration, and then things, have proceeded apace from there. So here's somebody who witnessed it firsthand. And this was somebody who was one credit shy. He failed his English class from having a high school diploma, but he was able to pick that up from his life experience. So I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to do this. I've got a birthday wish for Donald Trump. I wish that he had gone to Lowville Academy. I wish that he had learned from people like the previous speakers. I wish he'd eaten at the counter at the Lloyd's and talked with people and learned what it's like to be American and to be come from a working class background. I think that would help him a lot. I wish I got one more shout out. I wish his father had not been Fred Drumpf was the original name they changed to Trump. Wish his father was not Fred Drumpf, but Fred Lind, my wife's father, who was a veteran of the Pacific War in World War II. And lived to be 94, survived 4 cancers, and was just a tremendous person with great values. So and it was because of that both my father and my father-in-law were able to bring those virtues to their children and grandchildren. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to shout out what I most wish that Donald Trump and Elon Musk and others would have learned is the word share. So give me an S. Okay. S could stand for separation of powers in the Constitution. These separate branches. I didn't usually get to this on my first day of the semester, sometimes fairly early on. They're separated, but also shared. The idea is no one branch can do everything. You have to have at least one other branch working with you to get that done. So that's just one of the many ways in which this principle is being trampled on at this time. S could stand for sacrifice. It's great to get benefits, but it's shared sacrifice of all of us to get those benefits. If the sacrifices aren't shared, then the benefit should not be glommed onto by any one person or group of people. So that will take care of the S. Give me an H.
H.
Okay. How about honor? Honoring our promises. I got a Ukraine button now. When the Soviet Union fell apart in 1991, there were 17 separate republics, what's called the USSR, and Ukraine was one of them. There were nuclear missiles in Ukraine, and they voluntarily agreed to give those up in exchange that we would make sure that they were defended. So up until recently, that's what we did. So that's what the H for honor would stand for. Humility would be something that would be helpful these days. I don't expect a lot to happen in that regard, but we can put it out there anyway.
How about honesty?
You're way ahead of me. Thank you. I had forgotten that. Honesty, yeah. Honesty is a good thing. I don't know. I think they're afraid of what would happen if they told the truth. If there's something physically might happen to them, I don't know. I worry about that. Not a whole lot, but I do worry about it. So that, what is it? Democracy dies in darkness was one. The first casualty in a war is the truth. And to the extent we are in a war, and we kind of are, that's what's been happening. I'm gonna toss this out there. One of the commandments, one of those 10 commandments that seem to be very popular with some part of the base, is about not bearing false witness. So are we going to kick that one out? I actually did a count, and I think we're down to about 1.5 out of the 10. So it's easier to be that kind of a believer. All right, that might be why it's popular. So give me an A.
A.
Okay. A could be access. Access. So it ties in with the equity thing. I think Al Franken said this. If we want people to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps, we first need to make sure that everybody has boots. So that's the access to whatever it is that's needed for us to fully enjoy the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It's not happiness, it's the pursuit. You're not going to be happy all the time, but it's being able to have that. I always attributed that to the idea of everybody having the right livelihood, the kind of work that makes you feel you have dignity and you feel fulfilled and will take care of yourself and your family and hopefully future generations too. So that's what the A would be for access. Any other A words somebody can help me out with?
Accountability.
What's that?
Accountability.
Accountability. That's a good one. I was gonna make an R one with that, but accountability would be a good one too.
How about
Yeah. What's that?
Arrest.
Arrest.
Yeah.
Okay, arrest. Okay, I'm going to leave you with that, and let your imaginations go with it. So, yeah. Well, actually, this is what it is. The way that a mob boss works is they have layers of other people between themselves and the actions taken against any group so that they can escape the accountability. And so that's what's happening here as well. It's part of that hissy fit going back and forth between Trump and Musk these days. Give me an R. Okay. I was going to say responsibility. Taking responsibility for your own actions, respect can be a good thing too. In there. Any other R words?
Respect.
I thought I had one, but I can't remember it now. I think I've got Marion's glasses. Respect. Yeah. To treat each other with respect. Oh, here's the word. It came back. Reciprocity. Kind of the golden rule, treat others the way we would want to be treated. This isn't happening these days. It's only a one-way street. And that's not the way it was meant to be. I'm glad that there was reference to Benjamin Franklin. He was very interested in the Haudenosaunee, the Iroquois Confederacy, and how they were able to overcome their differences and create a government that would work for all of them with all of their differences as peoples. So reciprocity would be a key part of that. If any of you know Robin Wall Kimmerer's work, particularly Braiding Sweetgrass, she's talking about that's the relationship we need to have with all of nature is reciprocity. So it's not just us taking, there's a giving and a take that's going on here. Give me an E.
E.
Equity, work. If we get the other things working together, we'd have some excellence. The word I always look for in my classes, I started this on the very first day. I had classes that were required for people who weren't necessarily interested in that class. So the very first day I would talk about, why is this the case? For democracy, you need to have majority rule. Two heads are better than one. You have to have civil liberties to protect the rights of minorities in that. If you lose, then you wait your next time around and hopefully you win the next time around. But if you don't, then you just do that. I mean, George Washington does great virtue. He couldn't wait to hand power back to the Continental Congress when the peace treaty with Britain was agreed to. It's a day, I can't remember the specific day in December. I think it's like the 16th or something. He couldn't wait for that day. His idol was the Roman Cincinnatus, who during the time of the Republic, before the emperors, they were being invaded from the outside, and the leaders in town went to Cincinnatus. You've got to lead our army. You've got to defend us. And he said, I can't. It's planting season. I've got to plow. I got to plant. And they said, no, you've got to do this. And finally he said, okay. And he went away. It took him a few weeks, and he went right back to the plow. That was George Washington's, his idol. I'm so glad to have heard about, being woke. I wrote a poem a few years back called George and Abe Were Woke. They were for their time. They were way ahead of their time. And we are we should be ahead of their time. We've got no excuse not to be ahead of their time. It's an ongoing process. Another E word would be evolution. It's why we send our kids to school. We figure they'll learn things. I didn't hear it myself, but a friend told me that J.D. Vance said of his time at Yale, I guess it was, he didn't learn much. Who's that on? Other people learn things, So, what the word I'm really looking for, I'll have to toss a couple of words out first, though. The two major theories about why people don't participate, and that's what democracy is about. It's not a spectator sport, it's a participant sport. Apathy, I don't care. Or disengagement, I don't think my participation will matter. So there would be always a majority the first day said, oh yeah, I don't care. So you don't care how much college costs? Don't care if there are jobs waiting for you when they're done? You don't care if you have a retirement way down the road? You don't care if we're at war with some other part of the world? Well, maybe we do. Well, then why don't you participate? We don't think that the participation will matter. Well, if you don't get up and get involved in it, then it won't. It can't happen. The only thing that's sure, and I talked to a dear friend, Vietnam vet who passed away last fall. This kind of dedicated him too. Thanks, Dean Anthony. He said, the only way to deal with an ambush is to go head on into the ambush. If you turn your back on the ambush, you'll get shot in the back. So you have no choice but to move into it. And that's where we are now. We have to move into it. So but I can tell you from many, many instances, I wrote my doctoral dissertation about energy policy in New York. The people in Albany and New York City want to build 24 big nuclear plants up in this part of the state. On the river, on the lake. They were going to build 4 of them on, it wouldn't have been Fort Drum. They would have dug a canal for extra cooling water. So we escaped that because citizen groups and environmental groups, consumer groups got involved, said we don't need all that power. It was just to, enrich Niagara Mohawk and the other utilities. So that's what happened with people participating. They killed 22 plants. The only one that was ever built and went online was 17 times over its original budget. That was 9 Mile 2. And with AI and all of its energy uses now, we're going to be pushed to come back and have more nukes, more nukes, more nukes. I love to drive over and see the wind farm. I love driving through the wind farm. One of the transcripts I came across, there was an expert in aesthetics. There was a plant going to be built on the Hudson River. And he said, well, a cooling tower is as beautiful as any mountain you've ever seen. So kind of like J.D. Vance, probably didn't learn much. But so the E word is efficacy. Efficacy is a feeling that my participation will matter. And the more you do it, the more you get that feeling, and it spills over into all kinds of other things. Thank you.